Here's the problem. Most investors, most people that want to buy a storage facility are too busy chasing overpriced listed facilities. Now, here's the solution. In this video, I'm going to share with you 9 ways to find the ones they're missing. Now, these are the same exact strategies that I have used to close numerous self-storage deals. And better yet, the same ones that my coaching clients or students are using today to find the deals that people cannot find. And in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can land these storage deals, even if you don't have any experience, even if you don't have a budget, regardless of your limiting beliefs, regardless of why you think you can't do this. This video is going to share with you several ways you can, and most of which are not going to require one penny. Now, with that being said, I want to go ahead and share with you something that I've prepared specifically for this video. But before I do that, I had a really good question on one of our Storage Wins coaching calls just recently. And I was asked, if I had to focus on one skill, what would that be? And it was a really good question. And it got me to really thinking about all the different things that are needed to succeed in this business. And by the way, I'm no special. I'm not any more special than you. I'm not any smarter than you. Trust me, if I can do this, you can do this. This is not complicated, but people tend to overcomplicate things. So what I want to do for you here is simplify this. Now, to answer that question, I thought about it for a second and I said, get really, really good at finding deals. Why? Because if you know how to find deals, you'll never starve, you'll never go broke, and you can control the deal. So with that being said, let me go ahead and dive right in and share with you 9 ways that you can find storage deals today. So now there's a couple different things that we need to go through. There's on-market deals, right? And those are typically storage facilities that are listed with brokers. And then there's off-market. Off-market meaning that they're either it's not listed with a broker, maybe it's a broker pocket listing. We'll talk about that in a second, but more likely than not, it's direct to seller, direct to owner. Now, you might be able to guess which one's my favorite, which one's my preferred method. I've done both, and the most successful storage investors and buyers and operators are the ones that are able to tap into both. But let me first touch on market. Now, brokers are a great resource for buying storage deals. Why? Because that's exactly what their job is. Their job is to do a lot of the heavy lifting to get in contact with these storage owners, get the listing, and then take it to market. Now, brokers require building relationships. So more chances than not, it's going to take a while for you to develop that relationship and become the go-to person or one of the go-to buyers for that broker. There's a saying in commercial real estate that LoopNet and CREXi is where all commercial deals go to die. Like, that's been said for years and years and years. Now, while I tend to agree with that, generally speaking, every now and then something slips through the cracks. It falls out of contract and they become more motivated, and you can get deals off of LoopNet and CREXi. And in this talk, in this video, I'm actually going to dive into LoopNet and CREXi, and I'm going to show you some filters you can use to start looking at deals, training your eyes, and just having conversations with brokers. That's the one thing that you need to take away from this section is it's all about building relationships. It's all about follow-up. It's about staying in contact with these brokers, sharing with them exactly what you're looking for. And by the way, in the description here, we'll link up a video about the storage avatar. So if you're not sure what you're looking for, you're definitely going to want to watch that video after this one. But the more clear and concise you can be with these brokers and staying in front of them, building a relationship, making sure that they know you're not going to waste their time. And here's the important thing. When they send you opportunities, look at it and get back to them as quickly as possible. Ideally, that same day or within 24 hours. So brokers will list properties on LoopNet, CREXi, and there's other broker sites, Marcus and Millichap, Argus, List Self Storage. I mean, there's several. If you just do a Google search for storage facilities that are listed, you're going to see several. Now, eventually, once you build these relationships, is when you have opportunities to get pocket listings. I remember the third storage facility I bought was because I had built a relationship with a broker. I ended up performing. What does that mean? Performing means that I put the facility under contract and I closed. So I proved myself to that broker that I'm somebody who does what I say I'm going to do. And that's super, super important that you establish a reputation as somebody who follows through and gets deals closed. So because I performed and I closed. I remember getting a call 6 to 9 months later. Maybe it was a year later, and he said, "Hey, Alex, how would you like to own another almost 40,000 square feet of storage just 3 miles away from the facility that you bought from me?" And one thing led to the other. About 6 to 7 months later, I ended up closing on that facility, giving me just under 80,000 net rentable square feet within a 3 mile radius. And that second opportunity didn't hit the market. In fact, nobody else knew about it. It was considered a pocket listing. That opportunity and that door opened up for me because of the relationship I built with that broker. So that's on market, right? And again, it's effective if you're able to do both. But let me go ahead and transition to my favorite, and that is off market. Why is it my favorite? Because this is where you can go direct to seller. There's more hidden opportunities. You can negotiate directly with the seller. Oftentimes, you're able to do a creative structure like seller financing or owner financing. And so, this is where I've cut my teeth. All the real estate deals I've done from single family and then about 5 years ago, transitioning into self storage. The majority of the deals I've done have been off market. While I have bought some storage facilities that were on market, this is to me, the lower hanging fruit if you know how to find these deals and if you're going to be consistent. So that is the caveat that I'll go ahead and throw out there before I transition to the strategies here is most marketing works. The question is, are you going to work and are you going to be consistent? That's one of the things I'm constantly sharing in our Storage Wins community is pick 1, 2, 3 channels and be diligent, be consistent, follow through, execute. That's what it's about. So with that being said, here are 6 direct to seller strategies. So we talked about on market, right? And that's through brokers. That's one of the strategies. Now let's start to transition into direct to seller or off market strategies. Now, this is not meant to be a comprehensive list. This just happens to be some of my favorite ways. Most of these are absolutely free. It just requires a little bit of sweat equity, right? Just your time, energy, and attention. And the first is cold calling. Now, I almost change the words cold calling to smiling and dialing because cold calling it's kind of cold, right? It's like, who likes to cold call? It's one of my favorite ways, right? Maybe because I'm an extrovert and I like to talk to people. But I treat it as a game. It's how many people can I connect with? How many people can I get to open up? How many no's can I get, right? When I ask, hey, have you ever considered selling or would you consider an offer for your facility? The great thing about cold calling is that if you came to me, and oftentimes people come to me and say, hey, Alex, I'm committed. I want to buy my first storage facility, but I don't have any money, right? I can't spend money on direct mail and I can't, there's nothing I can do, but I'm willing, I'm committed. I can do this. I say, hey, let me show you how to find the right market, right? And this video, we're not going to talk about that. I've talked about that in previous videos. Check out the playlist on how to buy your first storage facility where there's several videos in there and I talk about how you find the right markets that are undersupplied. But I tell them like, let me help you find the right market. Let's go to Google Maps. Let me show you what to identify in a mom and pop storage facility. Let's pick up the phone. Let's smile and dial, right? They're not gonna bite your head off. Like most of the time I find that these mom and pop storage owner operators are pretty friendly. And so cold calling is a great way to get your first storage deal or your fifth storage deal, right? It really just depends. So cold calling is one way to do it. If you happen to live in a tertiary market, right? Or a tertiary, so I like to look at markets that have a population between 5,000 and 75,000 people. And that's just a rule of thumb. I've bought facilities in markets that were more than that. That's just one of the pieces of the puzzles. But as a framework, I like to look at tertiary markets. In other words, markets where you're not going to have the big storage facilities like public storage, extra space. Generally speaking, I don't like them to be within my 5 mile radius of the markets that I'm focusing on. So driving for dollars, right? There is something so powerful to be said for driving, stopping in, and seeing if you can connect with the owner of that storage facility. I had a coaching client, Casey McKillop, who has bought within 91 days of joining our community, he bought his first storage facility, and that's exactly what he did. He was driving through Oregon to go hunting with some friends, and he saw a storage facility that looked kind of run down, mismanaged, and he ended up stopping in. He ended up, locating the owner through public records, which is something that we'll talk about here, and he was able to buy that storage facility, got a great deal. Well, 6 months later, he was able to buy his second storage facility doing the same exact thing, driving for dollars. So if you happen to live in one of these markets, or if you happen to take road trips, or you're driving and you see a mom and pop storage facility, stop in. Why? Because everything starts with a connection. Everything starts with a conversation. Everything starts with just opening the door to what may or may be possible and building a relationship with that storage owner, right? I live my life with the framework and the mindset of one thing. You are one insert the blank away from having a completely different life, from having a completely different financial situation. You're one deal away. You're one conversation away. You're one relationship away. So whenever you see these storage facilities and you're driving for dollars, stop in, meet the person, because I guarantee you that is what most other people are not doing. Most people are probably cold calling or doing various strategies here, but driving for dollars is something that's not super scalable when it comes to storage. And so when you have the opportunity to do that, do it, like my student Casey, who's now had a lot of success with that same strategy. Um, I love Google flying for dollars, right? So what is Google flying for dollars? So let me take you to Amelia Island, which in fact this is the one of the storage facilities that I own. Now, this is one of the things I train my virtual assistant on, is getting really good at virtually flying for dollars, scanning a market, and looking for the long rectangular buildings. Right now, in this case, this isn't your typical storage. Like, we actually happen to have a pitch roofs at our storage facilities. One of these is climate controlled. But when you do this long enough, you're going to actually get really, really good at figuring out where the storage facilities are. And it takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of just kind of honing in here and going around and, like, here's an example. Let's see if we can. Let's see if I can find one here really quickly. So like right here, you see this right here? That is a storage facility. You see these long rectangular buildings. Make sure that it's not like warehouse space or other type of commercial property, but you can always drop the little yellow Google guy here on the street view and verify, but this is a storage facility. So you can actually train a virtual assistant to go flying for dollars. And here's the cool thing, is that sometimes we're able to pick off storage facilities that are not found on Google. In other words, they don't have a Google My Business listing claimed. And so that is the equivalent to me of a vacant boarded up house that nobody really knows about, or that it's not on some specialty niche list. So that is one of the ways I like to look for deals. Now, if you're just getting started and maybe you don't have any money to hire a virtual assistant, then this can be one of the things that you do, is every single day spend some time in your market scanning, virtually flying for dollars. It's 100% free. And you can find some gems doing that. Also, Google hunting. So what is Google hunting? So if we hop into Google and I were to do self-storage for sale in, I don't know, I'll just do Camden, Tennessee. Now, that's a very specific search, right? So I could broaden that by just doing self-storage for sale in Tennessee, right? In fact, let me just start a little bit more broad. And then what I like to do here is I tend not to focus too much on page 1 or 2 of Google. Why? Because that's when you're going to see like a lot of the listed facilities on LoopNet, CREXi, which we talked about. And by the way, I promised you I'd go into LoopNet and CREXi and show you some filters. So I'll circle back and do that at the end. So what I like to do here is, you see down here, I like to dig deep into Google. I'm talking page 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every now and then, you will find a gem. You will find a storage facility listed on some random realtor's website. And whenever I see a residential agent, a realtor that has a listing on a storage facility, in other words, a broker that doesn't specialize in commercial or doesn't specialize in storage, if it's a residential agent that has control of a storage listing, like, my eyebrows get raised, my ears perk up. In fact, I have seen storage facilities listed on the multiple listing service, which is where residential properties are listed, land, duplexes, residential income, etc. A storage facility shouldn't be listed on the multiple listing service. That should be listed in LoopNet and CREXi. So whenever you see that, dig in because there could be an opportunity there. So I haven't done this search prior to the video, so this particular search could fall flat on its face, but that's okay. The purpose is not to find the gem here on this video. The purpose is for you to do this consistently or have somebody in your team, a virtual assistant, teach them how to do this process. It's super simple. But let's just go to page 6 here of Google and affordablestorageguys.com. This is interesting because I actually have never seen this site before. Okay, so, well, this is an actual storage facility. We don't know that it's for sale, but after this video, I'm going to smile and dial. I'm going to call these people. I don't know who they are, but there could be an opportunity there. Who knows? So I'm just going to scroll down selfstoragenow.com. I don't know this facility, but what we're looking for is John Lindsay, a good friend of mine. He's got a lot of storage facilities for sale. He's a good broker to connect with. We buy self-storage facilities in Tennessee. This is interesting. This is somebody that buys storage facilities. So I'm actually going to go here, and after this video, I'm going to call and I'm going to connect with that person, build a relationship. That's what it's all about. Now, this one is a home buyer, but apparently he's got a search for self-storage as well. So this is what it's about. It's about relationships. It's about connections. It's one conversation, one relationship. Always keep that in mind. So anyways, Franklin Street, UMH Properties. So I'm not really finding anything here so far anyways on page 7, but I would keep digging. I would keep digging and digging. And every now and then you'll come across one. So yeah, and by the way, all these like Anytime Self Storage USA, if you happen to go to their website, not only can you call them, but send them an email or complete their form and say, hey, I realize this is random. I came across your storage facility on Google. Looks really nice. I'm curious, have you ever considered selling or might you consider selling? Because I'm actually looking to buy a storage facility. So really, really nice looking facility. So if you go here, contact, and now they have several locations. So this seems to be a pretty seasoned operator, but either way, you can pick up the phone and call them. You can send them an email. By the way, whenever I go to the contact us section, if I see like at Yahoo, at Gmail, anything like that, I'm always sending them an email. In fact, in my Gmail, I have a canned email that I just click a button. It pre-populates an email that I've already written, a very personalized email, and I'll fire off emails. Right now, you don't want to be like, don't add them to your list and constantly be spamming them. I do know people that do that. I don't recommend spamming ever, but you can send them an initial email, right, and just reach out to them. So with that being said, that is one of the strategies. I like to go Google flying for dollars. I like to dig deep into Google and go Google hunting. Online public records, like I talked about, my coaching client Casey, he did some research. He found out who the entity was that owned the storage facility. And you can do something called a skip trace. A skip trace is putting in some information and getting the direct phone number or phone numbers and emails to the person that owns that business, that storage facility, the registered agent. So, and then sometimes you don't even have to skip trace. You can just dig online. There's a website called opencorporates.com, where sometimes you can get the contact information for entities. And then my favorite of all, direct mail. Direct mail has been responsible for 2, maybe 3 storage facilities that I've purchased. Well, 2 that I've purchased, 1 that I've wholesaled. In fact, there's a video that I will link up in the description below on a $150,000 wholesale deal that was because of a letter. I ended up wholesaling a storage facility to a friend of mine, made $150,000. He did really, really well. That facility is doing well, and it's worth significantly more than he bought it from me for. And that came because of a direct mail letter, one simple letter. So direct mail, again, has been responsible for hundreds and hundreds of real estate deals throughout the years. And so there's a lot to get into with direct mail, but that does cost a little bit of money. But the beautiful thing about self-storage is that unlike my days as a wholesaler and single family real estate investor, where I used to send 30, 35, 40,000 postcards a month, Now I might send a couple hundred a month, two, three, 400 a month, if that. They're very targeted. Now you can broaden that and go a little wider if you want, of course. But there's just not as many storage facilities as there are single family homes. And that's actually a positive in many ways. So direct mail is a great way to go direct to seller. Now, I will tell you the key with direct mail, there's a lot of keys, but one of them is consistent. Don't just do a direct mail campaign once, but send out the letter, and in 30, 60, 90 days, you want to send a follow-up letter that references the previous letter. And you want to change the copy a little bit, maybe change the envelope. The key is you want them to open it. So here's a ninja tip that I share with coaching clients is you want a live forever stamp and then put 2 or 3 penny stamps right next to it. Because think about what happens when somebody gets a letter and they see 3, 4, 5 stamps. Like I can all but assure you that they're going to open up that letter and it doesn't look like junk mail. So direct mail is an amazing way to get in front of these storage owners. Then you have social media strategies, right? Social media strategies. Facebook is just one of the social platforms that you can go to, obviously. Facebook Marketplace. Excuse me. So Facebook Marketplace, just click up here in the little marketplace. You can type in self-storage units for rent. And then here's the cool thing. You can just start like sending messages to these people. Now, be careful. You don't want to like send hundreds and hundreds of messages a day. You could have an issue with Facebook, so I don't recommend that. But obviously, you're not going to really contact the ones that are showing containers or anything like that. But whenever you see a storage facility like this one right here, you can come in here and you can send a message. And the message could be, I'm not interested in renting, but I am looking to purchase a storage facility. Would you consider an offer? Or have you ever thought about selling? Just open up a conversation with a person. So imagine if you had a virtual assistant that was Google hunting, that was Google flying for dollars, that was going into Facebook Marketplace and your market, your states where you're interested in buying storage and sending messages on your behalf, right? You can leverage ChatGPT to just come up with some very simple prompts and scripts for them. If you do that consistently, it's just a matter of time. These are at bats, these are opportunities, and you're just connecting with people. Remember, you're one deal away, you're one conversation away. So you can do this, you can train somebody to do this, and then you can go into storage Facebook groups, right? So, like right here, this is one that I might be biased, but I recently took over this Facebook group and we're making a lot of changes to it and things that are going to be great. So, Self-Storage Investments and Development is currently the name. Recommend that you come in here. There are people that are listing facilities for sale. There are people in here that are going in here and sharing resources, asking questions. So it's great to connect and collaborate with these people. Okay. So Self-Storage Investments and Development private Facebook group, you can request to join. Definitely recommend that. In fact, we will link this up in the description. And then you have, aside from social media strategies, you have networking. And networking, I've kind of already touched on it, but it's all about the relationships. There's professional organizations like BNI, which stands for Business Network International, BNI. And if you just go to bni.com, you click on the top right now, it says Get Invited, and you just put your information and you can find a local chapter. Now, the cool thing about BNI is that they only allow one person per industry. So like you're only going to have one car salesman in there, one insurance broker in there, one realtor in there, one boutique owner in there. So you can be the person that represents self-storage. Chances are, I don't know for sure, but chances are they're probably not going to have somebody in self-storage. And the job of BNI is to give you referrals and for you to give others referrals. So if you're in there with a hairstylist, whenever you know somebody that's looking to get their hair done, your job is to think of them and make the connection. Their job is to, hey, I just saw this storage facility while I was driving to Orlando with my family. Or, hey, here's an opportunity that I just saw online and they're supposed to feed it to you. So BNI could be a great way to develop your networking skills, to connect with people, plant seeds, share with them what you are doing, and have them bring you opportunities. Okay, so BNI is just one. Obviously, you can join the Chamber of Commerce. Check meetup.com to see if there's any local meetups about storage. And if not storage, you can go a little bit broader in real estate investing meetups. And I would even encourage you to start your own meetup about storage. Let people know what you're looking for. Again, if you just step back for a second and you remember that you are one conversation away, one relationship away, one deal away that can completely change your situation. That's one of the things that we talk a lot within our Storage Wins community is the power of relationships and connecting and contributing and collaborating with people. So, so, so important. And then you have business connections, obviously, vendors that you interact with, like property managers, insurance agents, and brokers. Like, let people know what you do, right? Sometimes when you ask people, hey, what do you do? Inevitably, they're going to ask you. So think about your 15 to 30-second elevator pitch, right? Tell them what you do. Be very specific. When you share your elevator pitch, they should know exactly what you do. So think about if we were at a party and I was a doctor that specialized in helping people with back pain. Now, I am not a doctor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving any advice here. I'm just sharing with you a story that hypothetical, something that just came to mind. So, if I were a doctor that specialized in helping people with back pain, and you knew somebody that had back pain issues or was suffering from that, you should be thinking of me. And if not, it's my fault because I haven't done enough to be clear and share with you I specialize in and what I do. So when people think about storage, they should think about you. Pretty much on a weekly basis, if not multiple times a month, I have people sending me via text a picture of a storage facility, something they saw on Facebook. Why? Because I talk about storage, because I share content about storage, because people know me now as the storage guy. That only happened because I talk about it and I make sure that people know that's what I do. Not because I'm super, super smart or special or anything like that. So just share with people what you do and what you're looking for. And then don't discount the power of friends, family. And it's interesting. A mentor of mine years ago told me something that I'll never forget. He says, Alex, when you connect with people, one of four things is going on. They're a buyer of real estate, they're a seller of real estate, they're a potential lender, or they know one of the above. So pretty much anybody you talk to or connect with. And now, granted, he was sharing this in the context of single family, but the point remains the same in storage, right? Somebody knows somebody or has seen something or is a potential investor or lender in a potential deal. So just connect with people, right? Like take the pressure off. If you're an introvert and you're thinking, oh, Alex, like get out from behind the screen, like go to meetings, go to events, talk to people, just get out there, get outside your comfort zone because you will reap the rewards in the future if you do it consistently. And by the way, you're also going to grow by putting yourself out there. And then of course you have other social platforms. So as a recap, we talked about on market, right? We talked about all the different off market strategies. Now, look, this wasn't meant to be a comprehensive list. In fact, just 3-4 weeks ago, we had one of our Storage Wins ambassadors who owns 4 storage facilities, share with our community like his strategy to connect with storage owners and get deals with SMS marketing. Now, I didn't include SMS marketing here because that's not one of the things that I do and specialize in, but SMS marketing, like he's cracked that code and he does really, really, really well with it. So he shared with us like a system he uses, an entire process, a playbook, and then he shared it with our community. So I want to encourage you that if you want to get around a group of like-minded people, you want to be in a community because you want to find your first deal, you want to be able to learn how to fund it, you want to close and operate it so that you can have cash flow, build wealth, and ultimately just experience time freedom. I want to encourage you to click the link in the description below. Watch that video and just take a few minutes to let us know a little bit about yourself so we can schedule a call, okay? But what I want to do here as a quick recap is I want to go into LoopNet, CREXi, and then we're going to wind this down. So if you go to LoopNet, you can create a free account. What you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to go ahead and click on specialty. And then, or actually what I prefer to do is in the top left here, search for sale. And then right when you get to this section right here, There's a lot of things you can do in terms of filters, right? But what I like to do is, let's see here. Why is this not coming up for me here? Give me one quick second. Let me just figure out. Okay, here we go. I had to clear the filters, but when you go to for sale, right here under specialty, you're going to click on self-storage, and then you can put in the states that you're interested in, of course. There's a lot of different things you can do here, right? But you're going to search, and then this is going to bring up all the storage facilities. Like here's one right here, direct equity. Now, I don't know if there's an opportunity here or not. And by the way, there's things that we teach our clients, like there's quick back of the napkin analysis that you can do just with the key pieces of information. I'll likely create a video on that, and we'll talk about exactly how to do that. But the idea here is to go and reach out to this person, right? Here's a broker that you can build a relationship with. And so right here, you can contact Garland Benton. And you can do the same exact thing in LoopNet, right? So right here, all types, I like to go and let's do self-storage, and we'll just do a quick search and go in here. So what if every single day you made it a point to make 5 connections with brokers, and you did that 5 days a week? Now that's 25 connections with brokers every single week. Now, an initial connection likely isn't going to move the needle, but I'll tell you what is, if when you follow up with that broker in 2 weeks, and you follow up again in 2 weeks. And you keep a simple CRM, right? You don't have to go crazy and get a Go High Level or a HubSpot or anything like that. It can be simple as Podio, or you can even simplify it more and just use a Google spreadsheet, right? The best CRM is the one that you're going to use and the one that you're gonna work. So whatever that may be, you can go in here and you can just start connecting with brokers, right? Make sure that you watch the video on the storage avatar so that you're clear on what you're looking for, and then you can communicate with brokers. And again, here's the key. When they send you deals, you want to get back to them as quickly as possible. So look, if you like that video, you're going to want to watch one of these 2 videos right here. In fact, I would encourage you to watch them both. And if you're interested in learning more about storage wins and you want to immerse yourself in just a community of like-minded people that are all after their first, and in many cases, their second or third storage deal, and you want to plug in to have all the resources and the training and the support and the guidance that you're going to need to succeed in this business, then head over to storagewins.com/apply. You can just click the link in the description below. I'll see you on the next one.